Welcome to Business Insight Fredericton. I'm Krista Ross, CEO of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. Today, I'm visiting Porter O'Brien and speaking to Senior Associate Aaron Brandt-Filleter. Describe the firm Porter O'Brien in a few sentences.
Porter O'Brien, our business is largely about helping people and helping our clients define, refine, and build relationships. We're really in the relationship business. And that's helping them with communications and public relations, government affairs, management consulting, and marketing and strategy.
So you talk about communications and government relations and crisis management, but for the average person, what do these things actually mean?
Communications work is really about strategy. It's about putting in place tactics, specialized tactics for specific audiences in the right order, basically. So I always say strategic communications is about getting the right message to the right person at the right time in the right way. And while that may seem like an easy thing, it is actually quite challenging and takes a fair bit of effort and thought. We also do a lot of government relations work, and that really is helping our clients navigate the mechanics of government. The government is a very complex organism. It's difficult to figure out your way around and how to talk to who you need to talk to, when you need to talk to them. And that's part of what we do with government relations. Management and strategy consulting is another offering that we have. And that includes building strategic plans for organizations, looking at what resources might be missing for an organization if they want to get to a certain objective or goal. We're really happy to jump in and help people.
Very deliberate and intentional decisions versus letting things happen as they may.
Yeah, absolutely. And in my experience, the most effective strategies are ones that are very intentional and very deliberate and very thoughtfully put together. And very respectful of the audiences that you're intending them to go to.
That is quite profound, and I think it's maybe where a lot of small businesses or organizations miss a little bit. So perhaps services such as those you offer at Porter O'Brien would be really helpful in just being more proactive versus reactive.
Yeah, a good story well told can change the world, and I believe that strongly. A story is the most powerful force on the planet. For good or for evil. And as storytellers, we have a great responsibility to tell powerful stories in a good way and make sure that our audiences are engaged.
So you really have a variety of services. Tell me about the types of clients that would use the different types of services.
Yeah. So we would be considered a full service agency, which means we provide a very wide scope of services, as you've asked, and that includes things like media training for clients who require some support there. It includes doing strategic planning and operationalization of those plans. We work with clients across sectors, be they in government, not-for-profits, private sector clients, and we kind of do it all.
Tell me about the group of people that would work here, what their backgrounds look like. What does it take to work in a firm like this?
We're very fortunate to have a group of very, very talented individuals working at our firm. From our partners who have really deep and profound experiences in government and in the private sector, to journalists, former reporters. We have people who've worked in fundraising, and obviously communications and public relations, which is my background. So we're very, very fortunate to have that group of people. And for each of our clients, we really do come together and brainstorm and work together. So when you're working with Porter O'Brien, you're not just working with one associate, although you may only see the one associate. You're really working with this great team of people.
That's excellent. So you get the benefit of all the various disciplines and talents.
Yeah, absolutely. And we work together. If I'm working with a client and I have a question about local media, for example, I'll ask my colleagues who've got more experience in that area for support. And my client wouldn't see that question being asked, of course, but I'm coming to them with confidence that I've done some research and done some homework to come with the best recommendation that I can come up with.
So how and when did the business get started?
So the business was started in 2019, so just before the COVID-19 pandemic, by Jordan O'Brien and Tim Porter. And they were colleagues from the government days. And they started this firm thinking it was going to be kind of a small kind of boutique firm with an exclusive client list and, kind of keep it small and nimble. And soon after opening, they realized that the demand and the need for the services they were offering was outpacing that intention. So they decided to pivot, just like we all did through COVID-19, and grow the business.
Your co-founders, Jordan and Tim, have a bit of an intertwined history. Tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jordan and Tim started working together about 15 years ago. Jordan had returned from a stint in Ottawa to Fredericton and was working as Chief of Staff to the Premier. Tim was working for the Council of Atlantic Premiers, and so they worked together really closely. Tim left government about 6 months after Jordan did, and they were both doing sort of freelance consulting work, and really a collaboration was inevitable between the two of them. They got along very well, and they still do. Their working styles are very complementary.
So you mentioned that the firm has grown a lot. They thought it was going to be the two of them doing some select contracts. How many people work here now?
We've got 12 people on staff,
Wow.
full-time employees,
Wow.
which makes us a big employer for the region. And we've got people located all over. We have our head office here in Fredericton, but we have people in Moncton, in Miramichi, in Edmonton. We have people in Montreal, and we subcontract people in Halifax, all across the province, PEI. And actually, we've got clients across the country.
So you've mentioned that the company has grown a lot. What do you attribute that growth to?
Well, I think first and foremost is actually the quality of work. We've got a lot of repeat business. We've got a lot of clients who are referring business to us, which is wonderful. It's a great testament, and we're very grateful for that. So the quality of work is there. Secondly, there's obviously a need in the market that we were responding to, particularly in the sense that there's a lot of consultant firms located in larger city centers, and they operate in a certain way. We like to operate with a sense of sort of a maritime sensibility, which means we're friendly and approachable. It's an offering that not a lot of people have.
Tell me a bit about your background. How did you end up working with Porter O'Brien? What's your experience been?
Yeah, I grew up here in Fredericton and spent most of my career actually in Ottawa. I was working in the federal government. I worked in the Senate for a number of years and then in the Prime Minister's office under Prime Minister Stephen Harper. I spent a little bit of time out west doing some tourism work and then returned to Ottawa to do communications for Minister Keith Ashfield, who was also the MP for Fredericton. When I left politics and that political realm, and in politics I worked in a variety of files. I worked for the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, for the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, and also for the Canada Revenue Agency. So quite a wide variety of topics there. When I left politics, I took a job with the National Inuit Organization in Ottawa as their communications director for just under 6 years, which was a really incredible experience, and I got to meet some wonderful people, in particular working through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission process. My family decided to take a little adventure, and we moved out west to Banff, where I was Director of Communications for Banff Centre for Arts and Creativity. And we were there during the COVID-19 pandemic. So we decided to make our way back east. And I was really lucky to land in this firm and working for Tim and Jordan and this great team, where a lot of my skills and my background have all come together to do this work, which I really enjoy.
So even though in this community you're probably a mid to large size firm, but on the scale of things, of this type of work, you might be a smaller firm, so you probably get to do a lot of variety.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And I think that's one of the fun parts about this job is that there's really no 2 days alike. The spectrum of clients that we work with is very diverse. As I said, we work with not-for-profit, for-profit, government clients. We work with member associations. We work across sectors, so conservation. We work in Indigenous politics. We work on government relations, trying to get the government to modernize and fix laws and policies and regulations on behalf of people. So it's really interesting work. The full group of our team coming together, we have sort of experience in all of those areas.
Do you have clients that actually simply put you on retainer and call upon you when needed, or is it always sort of an a la carte menu of services?
We have sort of basically two streams. One would be sort of a project-based client, so somebody's coming in with a very specific problem, and we help them with that very specific problem. And that could be in government affairs and helping them figure out a way to get the government to modernize or change regulation or a policy to help sort of, improve government services. And then we also have clients who come in and say, look, we just don't have the resources to do the work we need to do. We'd like to bring you on a retainer, and we help. We can be an extra set of helping hands.
Although the firm is based here in Fredericton, you've mentioned that you have employees elsewhere, but I know that means you also have clients elsewhere. Tell me about the breadth of your client list and where clients come from.
A lot of it's through referrals. We have clients across the country. A lot of clients here in Atlantic Canada, but we've worked for clients in Ottawa, in Ontario, we've been in Manitoba, in Alberta.
When you start a business, it doesn't matter where you start the business, there are always challenges. What do you think was the biggest challenge of opening Porter O'Brien here in Fredericton?
This perception that it's small here and maybe we can't do the work. And we consistently sort of fight against that narrative. I can say with a great degree of confidence that we are out delivering and outperforming those expectations, and also possibly a different price point.
So when you think about this business, do you think of the founders as entrepreneurs first, as government relations first, as communications first? How do they perceive themselves?
We perceive ourselves as very client focused first. So the strength of our work is what allows us to grow. So we put our clients first. And that doesn't mean we're putting our clients first before the business, but by putting our clients first, we're growing the business.
So the skills in various areas have allowed that entrepreneurial benefit to shine through.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, the equation of sort of good work builds good relationships, builds good business.
One of the things I've noticed about the firm is that the founders really believe in giving back to the community. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's one of the things actually, the sense of community at this firm. It's one of the things that really attracted me to working here. The founders really do believe that we are part of a larger community, and we all have an obligation and a desire to help our community. So we do that in a number of ways. There's a lot of charitable initiatives that we participate in, including sort of the holiday trees at the Pine Grove Nursing Home. We've participated in some work with the Fredericton Community Kitchen. We're hosting an art exhibition for the SD Art Initiative, which is also a chamber member, here at the Red Brick Gallery. We also participate in a lot of boards. All of us do, actually, and it's sort of not just expected of us, but we want to be there, and that's sort of how we build relationships. So our one of the partners, Jordan, is on the chamber board, as you know, but we all get out there in the community, volunteer our time and our efforts, our services.
Welcome back to Business Insight Fredericton. I'm Krista Ross, CEO of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. Join me now to learn more about the Porter O'Brien story. Tell me how you get your message out. Do you use social media, traditional media? How do you get the message out?
Really, for us, our business is direct communication. It's meeting people and talking to people and building a level of trust with them to help them do this work.
So what about competition? Would you say you have competition, or what does competition look like for Porter O'Brien?
We may have competition, but our goal is to deliver the best services we can for our clients, and that's what we're going to focus on. And that's, in the end, what's going to set us apart from anybody else.
So the company has already been growing, but where do you see the future? What do you see the growth trajectory for Porter O'Brien?
We do still believe there's some untapped potential in Atlantic Canada. This is a growth market. We're seeing metropolitan areas growing. We're seeing population growth. So we do still believe that there's an untapped market here in Atlantic Canada. We are expanding across the country with clients in other provinces, and we're actually also looking at some international clients as well.
To date, what would you say has been the biggest success story of the firm?
I think the biggest success story of the firm is the number of clients who continue to work with us, who continue to give us their business, and who refer their friends and families, colleagues, partners to us. That is a testament to the work and the quality of work that we do. I think about some of the clients that I'm working with, and we've seen tremendous growth in areas of communication. So with one client, a recent member engagement activity, we saw a growth of 10 times their member engagement activity with just a few simple strategies and some consistency in their efforts. With other clients, we've seen growth of 15-20% of engagement. We've seen media reach growth into the hundreds of percent growth, to the point where it's almost not measurable. So those are all, those quantitative success stories. But I think the qualitative success stories is building those trusting relationships with clients.
I've always been told that the idea of failure should be considered a learning opportunity.
Yes.
So tell me about the learning opportunities you've had.
I can safely say that there's not been any learning opportunities that have been very, very challenging for the firm at this point, and I hope that trend continues. Obviously, there's times where projects don't go the way we hope that they go, or where we've anticipated, and those are things that we regret, and we always try and make it right and find a path forward. We have a lot of safety nets built into our model in the way that we work together, so we really do prevent each other from making any big mistakes.
What would you say is your favorite part of the work that you do here?
I really enjoy our team. We have a fabulous team, very wholehearted firm with a focus on human beings first, which is a belief that I have. It's really enjoyable to come to work every day. We have a lot of fun together. We're serious about getting the work done for our clients. I've met some really incredible people through this job already. In short, the thing that I enjoy the most about this and this job and this firm are the people.
When the business got started, Were there organizations that were involved in that helped get the business off the ground, get things running?
If you were to ask our founders about their best advice for starting a business, especially in a community like Fredericton, it would be to start small, be patient, and join the chamber. We're involved with the Fredericton Chamber because our headquarters is here, and that's been a fabulous opportunity to meet people and get connected, and tons of opportunities there. And then we're involved in other chambers in other cities in different ways, and those are also great opportunities.
If you were to think of things that happened since the business started, has there been any sort of fun, hilarious, or crazy story that you could share with me?
I wasn't here at the time, but I've heard from Jordan and Tim about projects coming in that needed to be turned around in weeks, things that hadn't even been dreamt of. Mm-hmm. So I think about Lumen Ultra, for example, and turning around, getting hundreds of tests out into the market in a matter of weeks, and Jordan and Tim working those long hours to get those things done. Those are some of the crazy stories when we just hear about the intensity of the work, particularly in that early COVID period.
So how did COVID overall impact this business?
For Porter O'Brien specifically, the results or the impacts of COVID-19, I think, are in the strength of remote work and learning that we can work in a remote environment effectively. We don't need to be in the same city to do the work effectively. So as we are growing, some of the growth opportunities that we see are in those remote environments. So being able to compete with consulting firms in other markets elsewhere in the country and internationally, all from Fredericton.
What would you say that you're most proud of, or that the firm is most proud of?
I think the firm would be proud of the team it's built through this growth curve, and the clients that we've been able to attract.
In the short time that the firm's been in existence, have you had any recognitions, awards, accolades? Tell me about that.
Well, we're actually very proud that in 2022 we received the Business Excellence Awards, the Wilson Insurance New Business Award. And we were up against some really stiff competition for this award. It was a really, really proud moment for all of us at Porter O'Brien.
In the coming year or 3 years or even 5 years, what kinds of goals has the company set? What do you see as the future?
So the mantra of our partners is sustainable growth. So we have experienced quick growth over the past 3 years, and we do anticipate additional growth or future growth, but we want to do that in a sustainable way. So that means, bringing in new business, hiring new staff, stabilizing the business before we continue that cycle. And currently, we're actually getting about 50% of our revenue from out of the province, and 90% of our payroll is spent in the province, is for people here in New Brunswick. So
that's great.
Yeah, so we're bringing in money to the province, and we do hope to continue that ratio, or continue on that ratio path.
So how do you see the economy and opportunities in New Brunswick?
We believe very strongly in this region and the potential here, and we'll continue to support it as we go forward.
It's been a really enjoyable story, and I appreciate you sharing it with me.
Yeah, thanks, Krista. It's been really wonderful to represent our firm and talk to you today, and I'm really looking forward to the future here.
Thank you. We're always looking for great companies with a unique story to feature on the show. If you have suggestions, please get in touch with us.